All right, so we can't talk about the state of video games as until we really start to get into like the meat and potatoes of it, and now we're going to start moving into the consoles. And I hate to say this, but we have to talk about the Xbox. What is the state of Xbox? Like, do you feel that Xbox is in a good place right now? Because they're slowly breaking my heart. And I'll tell you why in a minute.
Here's the reality of the situation the way I see it. They're doing what they have to do if you want to continue to have Xbox as a brand. I don't like it either.
Mm.
Some of the changes that they're going to be making, but they're doing what's necessary. So I'll speak to a couple things out of the necessary front. So as I mentioned earlier, physical Xbox games are certainly dying. It's very obvious, right? I mentioned this in the video that I did before, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself for some people, but if retailers are not willing to have your games on their shelves, if they're not willing to pay for them to be there,
Mm-hmm.
then what is the point of producing them anyways? If most of your audience, I think like close to 70% of games on Xbox are purchased digitally now, if that's where your audience is buying your games, then what is the purpose of making them physically? If you're only going to be able to sell them through like proprietary Xbox stores or Microsoft stores or something, there's no purpose in making those games. I think what Xbox is going to do is to just partner with places like Limited Run or something like that
Mm-hmm.
and make games for now to suffice the people like you and I that want physical copies. And I think by the time their next console comes out, there will be no disc drive at all.
Oh, bro, this is gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard because you know what, we've talked about it this once before, and there was an article that quoted us about our stance on physical versus digital, and I I don't dislike digital. I truly prefer physical. I like the fact of owning something. I like the fact of holding something in my hand and saying, "This is mine."
Right.
Digital, it just, a Game Pass is fantastic. It lets me experience games that I normally wouldn't buy for myself. I was like, you know what, this looks kind of cool. Let me download this. Let me play it. See what it's all about. I love it. I love that fact, and it kind of softened my digital grudge, let's say, a little bit. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to be physical. I am. I have to have that sense of ownership.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like I'd rather have it physically. I'm not opposed to buying digital stuff. In some cases, it's easier, right? Like if you're playing PSVR,
Mhm.
it's a lot easier having those
Mhm.
games digitally than to take off your headset, put in a physical disc. Like there are purposes for it that make sense. It's definitely better for indie devs, obviously, to have digital options. In fact, a lot of indie games don't even come out physically because it's more expensive to make. That's that's just something that's going to happen in the future. There's going to be no disk drive, I strongly believe the next generation of Xbox. They already
Mhm.
said their next version. There's supposed to be like a leak that there's a Series X going to be coming out, so the same kind of console with no
Yeah, it
disk drive.
looks like a cylinder with no
Yeah,
disk drive.
right.
Ugh.
So that's already happening, and I guarantee you, I don't guarantee you because I don't know. In my opinion, the very next console is not going to have a disk drive because there's no financial reason for it to exist. Whether I like it or not, that's the truth. And that means it's not limited run in like those smaller print run places that you and I
Mhm.
want to hold on to so dearly. They're going to be gone
Mhm.
one day too. They're going to be
They
selling
are.
collectibles just like GameStop. That's going to be what they do because there's going to be no disk drive, or there'll be more like I'm 8-bit or something like that. They'll do like remakes of SNES games that are harder to find or something like
Mhm.
that. That may be how they exist. But like new consoles are not going to have disk drives eventually. Xbox is going to be probably be the first one. The next Switch is going to come out probably the first. That's definitely going to have some sort of media drive for sure. I guarantee it because a lot of Switch does sell a lot physically still.
Mm-hmm.
The next PlayStation, it depends on how the next couple of years go. Honestly, it really does. If the push keeps going physically, or digitally,
Mm-hmm.
it might not either. But they have a better shot than Xbox. Xbox is certainly going to be the first one that this happens to. The next thing I want to mention is the multi-platform stuff, which is
Ugh.
Xbox is going multi-platform. They're releasing some of their games. At the very least, they said 4 games. And I know they announced there was a Switch Direct earlier today, which I didn't get to watch the entire thing, but one of the games was announced there, which was the hell's that game called? That bug game where you know what I'm talking about, Wes? It's like an
Which one?
online or community based driven like live service kind of game.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I can't remember what it's called, but that's coming there, and I'm
It's not. You're
imagining.
not talking about Grounded, right? With
Oh yeah, Grounded. That's it.
the
Thank you.
kids
Yes,
that get shrunken. Okay.
that's on Switch for sure. I saw that earlier today. I didn't get to watch the whole direct. I was super busy today,
Mhm.
but I'm imagining they probably announced Hi-Fi Rush as well. I don't know that for a fact, but Grounded was definitely announced for Switch today. Had the Xbox logo in the upper left-hand corner as well.
Mm.
Xbox logo here, Switch logo here. It was amazing.
Okay, so this is the part where I kind of it makes me sad, and here's why. I'm having Dreamcast. I'm having Sega flashbacks, and it scares me. The Dreamcast I loved. Everybody knows it's probably one of my favorite consoles of all time. Sega announced that they were going multi-platform, and they started being a third-party publisher, and that was it. We got no more consoles from Sega, and I'm getting that same vibe with Microsoft, and I don't want that to happen because I thought Microsoft built a really good community with their Xbox. I love their machines. Xbox One was great. Xbox 360 was fantastic. Then we
I'll defend the Series X. I think the Series X is phenomenal. Like this is like a fantastic console. Like there's so much good stuff about it.
it's I love their consoles. I really do. I love their library. And like I said, I'm getting Sega vibes, and it's making me nervous. And because I don't want that to happen. I wish Sega would one day surprise me and say, "Hey, guess what? We're coming back to the hardware market." But I know that's never going to happen. But I see the same pattern happening with Microsoft, and I don't know. I can't stop it. But I know they're not going to stay in business just for me. But
The good news is they did say there will be a new piece of hardware coming out of them for sure. It's already like in R&D, so
mm,
it's already being figured out. That's the good news. The bad news, to my point earlier, I guarantee you that damn thing does not have a disk drive.
yeah,
So
yeah,
even though they have this wonderful backwards compatibility program, I have a lot of discs, West, that are not going to play in the new console.
I
Which
got just as many.
a bunch of people are going to be pointing at me right now. So play it in your Series X. That's great. I got a lot of consoles. You don't understand. Like I have to pick and choose which ones are connected, right? So I'd rather just have like my Series X is fantastic because I don't need to have my 360. I don't need to have my original Xbox. I don't need to have my Xbox One because the damn thing does almost every game on all those systems. So that's
Almost,
all that matters.
almost. I still have to have my 360 hooked up because I tried to play Jet Set Radio on my Xbox One, and it doesn't play.
Yeah,
So I had to play it on 360.
there's some of them. I mean, they did on that game was available digitally. If you purchase that game digitally, you can play it right now on your Xbox, but you had to get the digital version. So that's the only caveat to that.
Mhm.
But my point is this: look at the competition. How many Nintendo games can you play from the past? Right? I know there's Switch Online, but they have
Mhm.
no backwards compatibility at all. PlayStation, you got PS4 backwards compatibility. Nothing from PS3. PS2 and PS1, you got some games that you can download.
But you said it, download.
Some games you can download, right?
Download. What if
Some,
those people we have the discs
right?
like us?
So I mean, this is just my point. Like, I would love the new Xbox to come out. If the if the next Xbox has a hard drive or has a disk drive,
Hmm.
the only reason it's there is to appease people like me and you, and so we can put our old discs in. That's it.
Okay.
It's not for retail. That's not the point of that drive, if there is one.
If there's one, right?
Right.
So okay. So then, to answer the question, do you feel Xbox is in a good place right now?
No, no, I think they're struggling, and I think this is but I think they're smart enough to know. Look, financially, they're making money, but they made a huge investment with ABK. They lost $59 billion, or no, it was 68 billion. I think it was $68 billion
Mm-hmm.
for Activision Blizzard King. They have to make that money back, Wes.
Mm-hmm.
They have to. The only way to get that is from revenue, right? And I'm talking about like at the end of the day, like revenue in your pocket, not like once you count your overhead, how much your studios cost, how much you're losing on A, B, and C. Like you got to get revenue into the company. How do you do that if your platform is not growing? In fact, your sales are declining on Xbox consoles, right? PC has been kind of probably growing for Game Pass a little bit in PC.
Mm-hmm.
Your Game Pass numbers are low. They announced what they were. They're low because they included the core Game Pass people, which are just basically old Xbox Gold members.
Right.
So your revenue's not, even though you're making a profit, this is Microsoft. You making a profit doesn't mean shit. This is not a mom and pop store. It's like, oh yeah, we're doing good. We're making a profit. No, they want to make a big ass profit. That's what they want to make. Right? That was the whole reason they bought ABK. And if they need to get that money back sooner, you put your games on other platforms so you get other forms of revenue streams. And to their point in their interview, and what they were saying is if these smaller games do well, they can get extra revenue. And maybe there is a Pentiment 2. Maybe there is a Hi-Fi Rush 2 because they're able to extract sales from other platforms that they wouldn't otherwise be on. So I think what they're doing is necessary to sustain them for the future, even though I don't like it.
Yeah. Okay. Just I'm pretty much in agreement with you. It's I know they have to do something. I know. It's just it's going to be weird, you know, seeing a Microsoft game on a non-Microsoft console.
I mean, I don't care. I mean, here's the reality. I don't really care. I'd rather them do this and there be a new Xbox than for them to not and just go the way of Sega and just be like, all right, well, we're just gonna put our games out everywhere.
Mhm. Yeah. But
At
no,
least
Hi-Fi Rush, everybody should experience Hi-Fi Rush. That game was so good. That game was great.
I need to play it. I still haven't had time.
Oh
I
man,
gotta
it's
go
so
back to that.
good. It's so good. I got to finish it because I got sidetracked playing something else, but it's really, really good. So no, I could see Hi-Fi Rush being one of the titles at which they announced going multi-platform because everybody should experience that game. It was so good.
I think Hi-Fi Rush is getting a sequel either way. I really believe that. I think they're gonna greenlit. I think they've already greenlit and just they haven't said anything yet. And this is to get them more exposure now, right? They're going to get extra sales from Switch. The game will
Mm-hmm.
probably be on PlayStation also. They're going to get extra sales from PlayStation. Why the hell not? Get the money. This is the look. We talk about console wars and fans, and like I get all that. I understand you wanting your console to win, but the reality is this: all these companies care about at the end of the day is making money.
It's money.
Period. Period. What better way to make the most money possible than to make sure your games are available everywhere? So they're going to do what's going to drive the dollar. That's all that matters.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they did too say that they're gonna hold on to a couple first party exclusives, whether they're timed or just exclusive, like Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so not all hope is lost yet. So we'll
No,
see.
the rewards you're going to get with being an Xbox Bucks fan is two things. For right now, one, Game Pass. If you're not going to be able to get Game Pass on PlayStation or Switch, or it's either PC or Xbox. So that's one advantage you're going to have. You're going to have day and date games on Game Pass, and two, the exclusive games are probably going to be exclusive for a year or more.
Hmm.
You're still going to be able to experience those. Like, great, people want to play Hi-Fi Rush. We've already had that opportunity to play it, you and I. Why not let other people play? Who cares? At this point, who cares? I'm sure their sales are completely stagnant a year after launch. How does it negatively affect them?
True.
Day and date, that's a different story.
Right.
If they were like, next Halo's coming out PlayStation same day, that's not good. That's a problem. You know, that means they probably are they're basically in the same position as Sega at that point.
Ugh, I don't want to see that happen.
We'll see. But they got a lot of money. Microsoft is, I think, the most valuable company in the world. At least they were a few weeks ago. So they have that going for them. But yeah, no, I think they're making some necessary moves, and I hope they're making some right moves and they bounce back.
Okay. Me too.